Hey guys, coming to you with another video. This time I want to talk about the NBA and LeBron James. This is so funny to me. This is so funny to me. You know, I feel like in this time, in this current age, we are experiencing a lot of hypocrisy. Starting with the NBA is the fact that a couple of years ago, you guys may not remember, but there was a big issue with the transgenders and bathrooms, and the state was putting into law in reference of banning any public or business facility at providing some type of basically what it was, the state of North Carolina was stating that you can only use the bathroom with the gender you was born as. So there was this big outrage. A lot of companies came out to speak against this, and it was, targeting the transgender community, being against the transgenders, and so on and so on. And the NBA was one of the big companies that stood up for it and would say this is appalling, this is demeaning, this is the worst thing to a person. This is almost like modernized slavery. I'm, just speaking off the cuff with that. I don't know if necessarily they said that statement, but they were implying that such an act of putting in the law that a person can only use the bathroom of the gender they were born as, regardless if they decide to make any changes in the future, was basically stepping on one's civil rights, right? So keep that in mind, that word, civil rights. Okay, so recently, as has everyone known, currently right now there's a situation in Hong Kong, which is in the south part of Asia. Now, Hong Kong was under rule by the British at one time. I think up until like the 1960s or something like that. And long story short, because the British colonized or had this, rule over Hong Kong became a metropolitan, cosmopolitan city. It was big capitalism business by the day and party by night. So it's different. It's a different cut of cloth versus Beijing, China, or just anything in China in general, even though it sits right below China. So it's considered to be a Chinese city. It's just that it was ruled by the British for such a long time. Now, the British decided, okay, we'll give you back Hong Kong by 2030, 2040, something like that. But since it has been under British rule, Hong Kong has enjoyed the fruits of life, not necessarily under what a communist rule would give you, meaning no civil rights. China has a system in place, sort of like Facebook. I think it's called WeGo, something like that. But basically, it's a social media platform where you do all your transactions, all your social media posts, you watch all your videos. It's an all-in-one situation. So if China feels like you have been late on your rent, they will take your rights down from the site. If China feels like you've been speaking against the government in a negative way, they will take down your access. You can't move money around, you can't take in money, you can't look at posts, you can't post anything. Like, they really are that cruel in the country. So what happened was, China basically got into the president's head of Hong Kong and said, okay, now what we want to do is we want to seize anybody in Hong Kong that has been speaking out about the government or been doing anything towards our government, seize them without any trial, without any court, and bring them back to China, and then we'll hold court for them here. Chinese people was like, Hong Kong people was like, no, this is not what we want. So this is hence why you've been seeing in the news they've been fighting in airports and malls and all this kind of stuff, because they want to keep their civil rights. They actually have been seen wearing MAGA hats because they want to make their country great again. And it's the truth, is because they enjoyed the fruits of life, the freedom they have been having for decades now. And the fact that China is in position to take rule over them again, they know that's going to go away, and it's going to be a position of no civil rights for them at all. So keep that in mind. Civil rights, the NBA fighting for civil rights of transgenders, civil rights of the Chinese people, right? Well, the Hong Kong people. So Daryl Morey, which is the general manager of the Houston Rockets, tweeted his support for the people in Hong Kong wanting their rights, wanting liberty, wanting freedom. So when that happened, it became a big uproar. China got mad and stopped practically majority of the business with the NBA, and I think they also went after Nike, right? Because of this statement. So they took the one statement of the person, Daryl Morey, which is general manager of the Houston Rockets, and they basically put it all into one basket and said, okay, all you people in the NBA and Nike are on the same tip, and since you guys want to feel like we're doing something wrong, we're cutting off all your business in China. Now, from my understanding, the population in China, I think, is like 1.5 billion people, 1.2 billion people, 600 million people in that country play basketball. Nike makes $60 billion off the country alone. I think the NBA makes $4 billion off the country. But here's the ticket. The NBA, 10% of their revenue only comes from China. So that means the other 90% is in the US. So they have the upper advantage. The other advantage is there is no other organization in the world like the NBA. And the China people love the NBA. So it was two ways the NBA could have leveraged freedom for the Hong Kong people, but they decided to not. Well, they decided not to. So let me go ahead and read the article from the New York Times real quickly. Daryl Morey, the general manager of the Houston Rockets, for his recent tweet in support of Hong Kong's pro-democracy protesters. The tweet set off a furor for the NBA last week, and the NBA commissioner, Adam Silver, defended Morey's right to publicize his views. That's what we have in this country. We have a right to freedom of speech, right? They don't have that in China. So the NBA commissioner, Adam Silver, said he's okay for Daryl to voice his views on Twitter. We will protect our employees' freedom of speech, and while the league acknowledged the offensive tweet had caused, it stopped short. Adam Silver stopped short of apologizing to the Chinese government. Now, it didn't kind of work too well with the Chinese government, so now they had to put a new face into it. So it kills me all the time when a certain ethnic group of people want to push their agenda. They always want to put a black face to it. Moving on. So this is what LeBron James said the other day. He said he believes that Daryl Morey, and this is something Adam Silver couldn't say, the head of the NBA, well, the NBA commissioner, something he couldn't say. LeBron James said Daryl Morey, the general manager of the Houston Rockets, he was uneducated about the situation at hand with the pro-democracy protesters in Hong Kong. He was uneducated. He said, referring about the situation in hand, James said referring emotionally and spiritually. So he was uneducated, and he didn't understand the impact of his tweet, the emotional part as well as the spirituality part. I'm trying to figure out the spirituality part. Y'all tell me what it is. I don't know what it is. James was making his first public comment since the team trip to China, where the Lakers played their preseason games. That's how the NBA make their money. All their preseason games, or some of their preseason games, are over in China against the Brooklyn Nets. But Morey tweeted a picture with the slogan, "Fight for freedom, stand for Hong Kong," which he later deleted. Shaped the backdrop for the entire trip. So the trip was awkward when LeBron went over there with the Lakers, and he had to be on Chinese ground when he made that statement saying it was wrong. Now, how are you going to, and I'm going to get into something else about LeBron too, but how's the NBA going to be fighting for civil rights here in this country but won't speak up against when people's civil rights are being violated in China? Are we supposed to be a country or just citizens of a country that sits back and allow other countries to be, to be in such a communist rule that they're ramrodding all their people, and at the same time we taking money from these people, but these people wanting their freedom? That make any sense? Don't make any sense to me either. The fallout was swift. Chinese companies pulled their sponsorships from the NBA and enacted a media boycott of the NBA, which included canceling local broadcasts of both games between the Lakers and the Nets The NBA spent decades cultivating Chinese markets, but suddenly felt the force of a geopolitical storm and seemingly caused by a single damn tweet. This is so sad. This is so sad. That means it's the bottom line. We don't care if you being ramrodded. We don't care if your civil rights being taken. We don't care nothing. We just want our check. That's it. Fuck you, our check. A news conference last week, we talked about Adam Silver. He didn't apologize to the government. He just, cause he was caught in a rock and a hard place. He couldn't talk about a person having the right of free speech in this country that the NBA is headquartered in, but yet say, okay, China, we shouldn't say anything about people wanting their freedom because we should know better and we want our money, we want our broadcast, we want our check back. This is sad. On Monday, James waded back into the maelstrom by holding a 7-minute news conference before the Lakers played the Golden State Warriors in a preseason game at the Staples Center. I'm sorry, I recant that. So he actually made this news conference here in the States. He said that Morey had caused a lot of problems for the players while they were in China. So when he made the statement, there were players already playing over there. That's what I meant to say. And went as far to suggest that he could have endangered them. Yes and no. The China doesn't want it with the U.S. So by that statement or that tweet being made, if China would have done something to those players, the U.S. would have been all over them so bad it would have been stupid. So yes, this is what LeBron said. Yes, we all do have freedom of speech, but at times there are ramifications for the negative that can happen when you're not thinking about others or you're not thinking about, or you're thinking about yourself. Asked why he felt Morey was ill-informed on the subject, James said, "This is just my belief. I don't know. That's my belief." You said you was misinformed, or ill-informed, but yet you saying you don't know. Sound like you ill-informed. That's all I can say. And LeBron is always the person, like he's always in the U.S. speaking up for, the rights of the people and all this kind of stuff. But yet, if it comes to his bottom line, he gonna forget who you are. Not educated on the situation, Mr. Morey. James, like many star players in NBA, has large business interests in China through sponsors like Nike. He declined to offer his views of the political situation in China, saying he did not know enough to offer an informed opinion. Man, he was briefed by lawyers, business managers, everybody. He knew the exact words to say to kind of finagle his work, and they still trying to save this relationship. For what? Fuck China. Excuse my language, but fuck them. They have been running businesses out of cities for years by stealing intellectual property and sending stuff over here cheap for us to use that break within a day. And people losing jobs. Come on, man. Let me go back to the actual New York Times article. LeBron James, like many star players in the NBA, has large business interests in China through sponsors like Nike. He declined to offer his views of the political situation in China, saying he did not know enough to. It's on the news every day, dude. For me personally, I've always been welcomed with open arms, he said. I've been to China over 15, 20 times. The main reason I've always wanted to go back to China is because of the game of basketball. The game of basketball, blah, 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 blah. Okay, so now that you know that they love basketball, you should have leveraged that so the people in Hong Kong can fight for their democratic beliefs in civil rights. Almost quickly as LeBron James' news conference was finished, James was the subject of widespread backlash on social media. Senator Rick Scott, a Republican of Florida, was among those who waited on Twitter. It's sad to see him join the chorus to the communist China of putting profits over human rights. About an hour after the news conference, James began some damage control of his own on Twitter. Let me clear up the confusion he wrote in one of his posts, referring to his take on Morey's tweet. I do not believe there was any consideration for the consequence and ramifications of the tweet. I'm not discussing the substance. Others can talk about that. So why are you even talking about it if you don't want to talk about it in full? Look, LeBron James is a joke, and I'm about to tell y'all why he's a joke. He's a coon. He's a sellout. I'm gonna break up another article I got about him real quickly. On Tuesday, Hong Kong, about 100 of basketball fans stood on the court in Wai-Chai neighborhood thanking Daryl Morey for his support, an event called Stand With Morey. So there's people in Hong Kong was talking about Daryl Morey. the general manager of Houston Rockets, saying, "We appreciate you looking out for us." Nikhil Ewan, 24, who is wearing a Celtics Enes Kanter jersey, said he was very disappointed in James. "I thought he supported democracy and freedom." He doesn't, unless it's involving his bottom line, he doesn't. He said, "When it comes to freedom of speech that affects business of the league, he doesn't support it." Exactly. William Mock, 36, drew a comparison to James' domestic activism. "Please remember all the NBA players, what you said before," he said. "Black lives matter. Hong Kong lives matter also." So he spoke out. Like I said, he don't speak about certain things, but he speak about Black Lives Matter. But when it come to Hong Kong people, oh no, y'all messing up my check. Hong Kong, who? Who's Hong Kong? I ain't talking about Hong Kong. I got deals with Nike. That's one thing I'm thinking about right now. Nothing else. But another article I have about LeBron James, this was written in 2018 from the Inquisitor. As you can tell, this is a while back. Cleveland Cavaliers superstar LeBron James began wearing Nike basketball sneakers with the word equality stitched on the heel from the start of 2017-2018 NBA season. The labeling was apparently a non-verbal protest against the policies of the U.S. President Donald Trump. On several occasions, James, who campaigned with Hillary Clinton in Ohio during the 2016 presidential campaign, has vocalized his criticism of the president about civil rights and racism and, discrimination. Right? This is what's going on in Hong Kong. So, let's keep going. Global sports apparel and shoe manufacturer Nike announced today that it's giving away 400 pairs of the limited edition black and white signature LeBron James equality sneakers in an online raffle as a part of an inclusion initiative. Cleveland.com asserted last fall that the basketball shoes became an instant hit with the fans. In spirit of the equality message, LeBron wanted every person to have an equal opportunity to participate in getting a pair of the shoes. On entry in the random drawing is free. Multiple entries are $10 each. So that meaning if you put your name down for the entry, for the drawing, it's free. But people with drawings, they like to put their name in there more than once. So they charge you $10 for any drawing for any entry after the first one. According to Nike, for LeBron, equality means that no matter your race, no matter your background, no matter who you are, we all have the power to stand up and speak for something. Hong Kong. Proceeds from the entry fees will be donated to the Smithsonian Natural Museum of African American History and Culture. From the paper, Business Insider reported several years ago that LeBron James' business partner implied that the three-time NBA champion lifetime contract with Nike is worth about $1 billion. $1 billion. So with a contract that high, you sell your own mother out. You sell your own mother, your sister, your brother, even your own damn kids. So, here's a quote. Here's a quote from the Inquisitor. LeBron James is selling a tennis shoe with equality written on the back of it, which is made by slave labor overseas. Everybody knows that majority of the clothing that you wear comes from Asia. It does. Comes from Asia. Some stuff may come from South America or whatever. Maybe Hungary. But majority of stuff that you wear, especially Nike stuff, comes from China. The phone that you're probably using, if it's an iPhone, comes from China. It's manufactured in China, I should say. Anyway, moving past that, they have what you call sweatshops. So there's sweatshops in China where they're paying people maybe $3 an hour. If it equates to US dollars, could be less than that. Could be 89 cents an hour. Long story short, these people work 12, 14 hours a day. They have pallets. They have pallet rooms for them to go take a nap and then come back and start manufacturing the stuff for Nike again. Just that quick. People have been known to commit suicide. They've had to put bars on the buildings where they're manufacturing the clothing to make sure people are not committing suicide. These people are working for slave wages and labor. The conditions are horrible. And LeBron knows this, but at the same time, he's selling his shoes that are possibly costing maybe $10 to make, turn around and sell them for $200. And he has a $1 billion contract with Nike. So he doesn't care. He doesn't care about you here in the States. He doesn't care about Hong Kong. He doesn't care about anybody if it comes to his bottom line, plain and simple. And I ask myself sometimes, all money ain't good money. All money ain't good money. So, but if I have to sign my name on a dotted line for a check, and I know that it is demeaning people, disrespecting people, bringing people down, or putting people in a position where they're like ultimately slaves, I don't want to be a part of it. But I guess everybody got a price tag. So, as the statement saying, LeBron James is selling a tennis shoe with equality written on the back of it, which is made by slave labor overseas. The irony of this decision is mind-blowing. It really is. And nobody really called it out. There are effective slave laborers sitting there making equality sneakers so that LeBron in America can pat his chest like he's doing something. And all the social justice warriors out there can say good work on LeBron James and he's in favor of equality. The reality is this. LeBron James equality shoes are made in a fundamentally unequal way. And the money made from LeBron James equality shoes will be distributed in a fundamentally unequal way. So, so the person, so basically this quote came from Fox Sports radio host Clay Travis. So Clay Travis is referring to the allegations that Nike has historically obtained its shoes made in sweatshops in Asia that also employ child labor. That's something else. Now, I'm all for making kids work, as long as it's not crucial hard labor. So I'll give an example. What I would say is Kris Jenner, as you know with the Kardashians, has been pimping out her kids for years. Now, say what you want, but the family is super duper duper wealthy. But did they have to really sweat? Not really. If it's a feasible type of labor, comfortable labor, I do see getting your kids out there working. I had to cut grass, I had to rake leaves, I had to do all that for $1 or a couple of dollars. So I don't see any issue with making kids put down gaming consoles, put down watching TV, and gummy bears, and getting their ass out there and work and earning their keep. But in China, with children working over there, they're making them work 12 and 14 hours a day making shoes in a sweatshop that doesn't have HVAC units, and they're making probably 89 cents an hour. Now that's bad. If LeBron wants equality, he welcomes to give away $700 million and live like the average American does. I agree. If he's in favor of equality, he can lift many people out of inequality, which he don't, because when it comes to his bottom line, he can feel like you can stay as a slave as long as my check coming in. He can lift people out of inequality and put them right smack dab on the plane of equality. Instead, LeBron James is going to make a lot of money alongside Nike, a major multi-billion-dollar corporation, pulling the wool over people's eyes, selling them a tennis shoe with the word equality on it. So I just want to bring you guys that second article about LeBron from 2018. Yeah, 2018 from The Inquisitor. You can look it up. But this has been rumored about for some time now. Even Kanye called him out on it. Said, you sitting up here lallygagging and cheesing and shaking hands with Nike, but Nike is literally making your shoes in sweatshops. Now, are the Yeezy 350 being made in sweatshops? I don't know. Probably. Because none of this stuff is manufactured in the U.S. anyway. But he did call him out and said, yeah, you're taking $1 billion from Nike on the backs of people that are slaving over building your stuff, which is awful. So this is what I have to say about the situation. The NBA is a hypocrite. LeBron is a hypocrite. This whole situation is hypocritical because you have a country fighting for their civil rights, fighting for democracy, and being that you have the upper advantage as an organization, as a league. There's no other league in the world like the NBA, and it's only 10% of your revenue. You can't stand with that country so they can be continue on being a democratic state, a democratic country. You can't stand with them using your organization as leverage. You know why? You don't want to do it because it's $4 billion on the line. Same thing with LeBron. His deals with Nike. It's $1 billion on the line. I don't want to do it. But I just don't get it. Like, how many... I'm all for being successful with no glass ceiling. I'm all for you taking it to new heights, you know? I'm just concerned when you do it on the backs of people and you know about it. I'm just a little bit concerned about that. And the second thing is, even though, in my opinion, I feel like the ultimate goal or the ultimate success is having a position, having a business in life where you have creative control or you have a level of creativity involved in the business to where is that you waking up every day and you're providing creativity and you watching something blossom, grow, and be successful. I also feel like you are determining your own work hours, like when you come into work, when you leave work, how much you put into it, how much you take out. Having that power, having that position. Also, the ability of being able to travel. These are the things I see as being successful. The money part is the incentive. It's the icing on the cake. Once you get like past 200 million, 300 million, I mean, everybody wants to have a billionaire status, tycoon next to their name. But once you exceed 100 million to 200 million dollars, how many houses do you need? How many cars? You can only drive one car at a time. You only can live in one house at a time. With that kind of money, I'm confused. Like 100 million, or hell, even 5 or 6, 7, 8 million is enough to live off of. But when you got $1 billion, it's just, I don't know. It's just, I'm not on the fence. It's just confusing to me. It's confusing. If I know that I'm worth over 100 something million, because LeBron is worth over 100, 200 something million dollars, so he's good. If I know me speaking out about people having their rights, their civil rights, and having democracy, like I have, and I have the ability to be a major part in that, I think I get more satisfaction at helping that cause than giving people to kiss my ass so I can get another check. You feel me? That's all I got to say about the situation. I hope y'all enjoyed this video. Please click the notification bell for every time I post new videos. Please click subscribe. Also, like this video, comment on this video. I thank you guys for watching, support me. I really do appreciate this. You guys have a great evening. Peace.